Hey guys, it's Infamous.sevens here on the Precinct project. Today we're talking to Ryan Mamba. I'm here
Hey guys.
in I'm here in London. It's 2:52. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
In
it's good.
Singapore right now, it's actually 9:53 p.m. at night.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's quite late.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm happy to have you on. And
Thanks for having me, man.
If you guys don't know, he'll be featured in our second issue. And yeah, overall, cool guy. Great artist. And
Thanks.
it's good, man. It's good. Let's get into the first question. So,
Let's do it.
tell me, first of all, what do you shoot with?
Okay, so right now I actually shoot with a Canon 5D Mark IV. That's one of the newer cameras. And then for my lenses, I mostly use my 1635 f2.8 Mark III. So that's a Canon lens as well. And for portraits, I usually go to my 50mm f1.4, and that one's by Sigma art lens. Those two are pretty good. Yeah, like my go-to lenses. I have one more. 2470 f4, but that one I hardly use it. It was a kit lens. It came with the Mark IV, so yeah, whenever I need that extra range, it's there for me to use.
Oh, that's dope.
So that's all good.
Yeah. I guess. So, what did you have before the Mark IV? What were you shooting with?
Okay, so before the Mark IV, I was actually shooting on a Canon 70D. So for that one, I had my 50mm already, my Sigma lens, and then for when I was using that, I shot my landscape shots with a 10 to 18 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that one is by Canon as well, but it's a much cheaper lens compared to my 1635 right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking to upgrade myself to the 60 sometime soon. It's,
oh really?
Yeah. It's I think that there's definitely a huge improvement you can get in terms of your shots. But something I always say is that you have to make sure you maybe shoot for like at least a year on the crappier camera before because I mean a lot of people actually get into the photography game thinking okay, I'm gonna get this really dope ass camera, I'm gonna like start shooting that way, and then that becomes their reason that they shoot, you know what I mean? It's not because they like photography or anything like that, but I mean, what's your opinion, I mean, regarding the whole nature of like how people are just transitioning towards digital from film? Do you think that affects like the cameras that we have now, or?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, because for me personally, I've been shooting like seriously on my camera for about only 1 year for now. So digitally, I pretty much only shoot digital. I have not actually come across any film camera other than the ones that I used as a kid. So, but one thing that I would say is that there are pros and cons with each form of photography. So, for example, like if you're using film, right, you actually have to spend a lot more time, thinking about how you want to get the shot, composing it, and thinking if the exposure is going to be right. And the thing about film is that you won't actually see your picture until you process it, But that actually gives you, like, it will really teach you to appreciate the art of photography. Whereas like if you're using digital, right, you can just pretty much just shoot anything and everything you want without having to worry how the picture might turn out as much as when you're using film. But I feel that the availability of digital cameras, because now it's so available, everyone can shoot with their iPhone, right? And you can get pretty decent pictures just from an iPhone. And I feel that the digital era has made photography a lot easier, and it's definitely given more people an opportunity to try out photography. But I would say the cons about digital is that it's so available right now that people actually take like a lot of things for granted.
That's true.
Like they don't actually realize like how difficult it is to what goes behind like taking a great photo, and the amount of effort it takes just in order to create like a really well composed picture. So that's my take.
I mean, it's interesting, especially when you see almost like those. I don't know if you own any photography books, like film photography books.
No, actually I don't.
I mean, even if you've seen one before, if you've owned one, if you read through one, whatever it is, it's incredible because you look at these amazing photographers from like, you know, maybe like 50 years ago, and they're not just walking around with a camera that we have nowadays. They're walking around with this whole setup, like a whole box, like a tank. And you think, how the fuck did you even manage to do that? You managed to create pictures that are better than mine, 20 times better than mine, and you're carrying a German tank on your shoulder like a bazooka.
Yeah, I guess that's yeah, the thing is that you know, now as the future progresses, right, a lot of things just get easier, but it doesn't necessarily mean that photography, it will make like your photography better, you know. Yeah. So I guess it really depends on the person behind the camera rather than the gear that you're using.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. Yeah, it's definitely passion over budget, but I mean, as always though, if you've trained yourself, then go for a good camera or whatever it is. But so you said you're based in Singapore.
Yes.
Have you always been based in Singapore, or?
Yeah, I'm actually born and raised here, so all my life in Singapore.
Okay, dope. That's quite nice. And did you I mean, were you always shooting in Singapore, or have you moved around and shot in different places, or?
Well, I would love to, but right now, because I'm actually in the military, so in Singapore, right, every guy has to serve like national service, and I'm almost towards the end of my service. But yeah, so I actually only started shooting like last year while in the midst of my national service, so I haven't actually got the chance to really travel a lot. But the one place that I've been to shoot is Japan. So I went to Japan like last November, and it was awesome, man. Like, I really love just exploring new places and stuff like that. And so this coming year, a couple of trips already planned, so keep a lookout for that one.
That is really cool. Yeah, sure, we'll definitely keep a lookout on Instagram. That is really cool. Yeah, if you guys want to check out his Instagram, it's in the description as always. That's really nice. Japan. I mean, in the army, did they teach you any of that like secret combat techniques or anything like that you can use if someone tries to steal your camera?
For sure, man. For sure. Why don't you try and come out and steal my camera? I'll show you.
No, definitely. I think anyone would turn into like a martial arts expert if someone was trying to steal their camera, for sure. But anyway, okay, that's quite nice. And are you looking to shoot anywhere else in terms of like, you know, America, or any favorite destinations you want to head to, you know, like any?
Most definitely, man. Like I see a lot of great pictures coming from overseas. I mean, like in Singapore, you have a lot of like great architecture and stuff like that, but we have a lot of things that we don't have. So for example, like nature shots, right? I would say that I would love to head out to the US just to shoot like the mountains, or you know, go and see the northern lights, stuff like that, stuff that we don't have in Singapore. So but the top few places on my list right now, I would love to head to China and you know, just to conquer like Asia first, Hong Kong especially. Been to Hong Kong a couple of times, but never actually to shoot. So I'm actually going to Hong Kong really soon, so that one's gonna be fun. But then I would love to go to the US as well. That one is at the top of my list, but that one's quite far out, so I'm definitely gonna have to save up for that. And maybe Europe as well. You never know, man.
Sure.
I would love to.
It's a good shout. I mean, so it's always better to spend money on experiences and things, you know, and some of the things you can see. I mean, especially in somewhere like, I think almost when you don't go to these places and you have an idea, you build up this like sentimental value of what it might be like, you know. And it's quite nice to see how it's like. I mean, when you've traveled to Japan, and I've heard a lot of people traveling to Japan, did it meet your expectations, or?
Wow. Okay, so here's the thing, because like in Singapore, we actually have like a lot of influences from other countries. So if you actually ever have been to Singapore, you realize that it's not so much like an Asian country. It's more like we have a lot of Western influences and a lot of influences from everywhere else. So in Singapore, we have a lot of like Japanese influence as well, like Japanese food. You know, we have a lot of Japanese shows here and there. So I got a pretty well idea of how Japan would be like even before going there. But when I was there, it was like awesome, man. Pretty much the same as what I would expect actually, or even better, I would say.
That is really
super fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, so overall, what would you say your inspirations as a photographer are?
That's a good one. So I actually have a couple of Instagrammers that I look up to. In terms of edit, I'm not sure if you actually heard of this guy. So apparently, like a lot of my influencers are also from Japan. There's this guy named 446i. He recently got featured on Game of Thrones. Super nice guy. I mean, like I've seen his pictures. He's around 40k, and when you ask him questions, he'll reply you. So that's super cool. And second guy is Nandin Yuan. So it's also a Japanese guy, super clean edit, quite similar to the first guy that I mentioned. And then NK7, I'm pretty sure like a lot of people know NK7. So yeah, he's based out in China, and his edits are so clean, and like the idea he has is just super cool. Like it's so fresh. And yeah, I guess like these are my top 3 inspirations for photos. But if you're talking about like other influences such as like media inspiration, I used to play a lot of basketball. So yeah, that's where my like name actually came from. Like the Mamba is actually from Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant is actually my favorite basketball player, right? And his nickname is the Black Mamba. So that's where I got my name from.
Okay.
So yeah, Kobe Bryant is actually one of my biggest inspirations, even ever since I was a kid. Like I started playing basketball, he's like the guy that I looked up to. And not only like his basketball skills, but it's more like his work ethic, and you know, the way he looks at everything, his mindset, really, just like his hard work and stuff like that. So I try to learn a lot from that and just put it like through my everyday life. And I guess like it shows through my photography as well. Like every week I would just go out and shoot, then you know, just try to do my best in whatever I can. So yeah, Kobe Bryant definitely one of my biggest inspirations. I listen to music as well. So I listen to a lot of EDM actually. So Hardwell is my favorite DJ.
Good old Hardwell, yeah.
Yeah, Hardwell. So yeah, music, Kobe Bryant, and yeah, the 3 Instagram guys, my biggest inspirations.
Would you ever like to shoot for Hardwell in the future?
Wow, that's wow. Yeah, of course, man. Why not? But you know, like it's definitely gonna be an immense pressure, like a lot of weight on my shoulders. But yeah, why not?
the thing is actually, I've seen on Hardwell's Instagram. I mean, if you look at some of these celebrities' Instagram, you can tell that they don't have a photographer, and that they don't invest a lot of money. I don't think it would be that much pressure, but I mean, they don't. I don't think celebrities put enough emphasis on how powerful. I mean, especially rappers and stuff like that, put enough emphasis on how huge photographers are in terms of success and creating that image for someone. Is there people in specific or companies that you'd like to work with in the future?
Yeah, of course. So companies, so I actually, besides music and basketball, I love shoes, like sneakers. So a lot of times I try to collect like shoes. So I have like a couple of NMDs here and there, and like some Nikes here. So yeah, definitely would love to shoot for Adidas or Nike if I ever have the opportunity. In terms of people, I would say not really. Like I wouldn't mind, you know, like if I was given the opportunity to shoot like celebrities and stuff like that. But right now I feel that if I was given something that I could choose, I would definitely choose to shoot like sneakers. So like either, you know, a brand new shoe, or maybe like, I don't know, maybe a t-shirt or a watch. Yeah, anything that comes my way, man, I'll try to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always good to keep an eye out, keep your vision open, because those opportunities can really be life-changing. I mean, even the small ones. And I mean, for me as well, I think Nike has always been a huge one, almost like my dream goal to sort of work for Nike and get a job with them, because it's, I mean, I think if you especially look at something like Nike, they've made such a huge change, like regarding almost culture, you know, the way they've signed a lot of basketball players, a lot of skateboarders. It's quite interesting, as well as the development of their art as well. And with your development of your art and your photography, how did you start? How did you get into you know, the whole photography thing?
Oh, it's actually quite a funny story, because back then so I've been shooting for actually about I would say maybe 1.5 years now. So I started in the around like I would say maybe January like last year, so January 2015. So sorry, 2016. So I started shooting on an iPhone, and so how I got started was that actually a lot of my friends, right, a lot of my close friends, they start to make fun of me because I used to be like the least. I have like the least number of followers amongst all of them, and like I would get like the least amount of likes, right? And every time I like hit 100 likes, they would like make this hashtag like Ryan hits 100, and like it would be a joke. And ever since then I was like, shit man, I'm gonna get back at them one day. But yeah, all jokes aside, how I actually started was I followed Hypebeast, and I saw Hypebeast actually feature a landscape shot. So it was a really nature shot, and it was actually by Merlin Kafka. So his Instagram handle is the Kafka. So I went onto his page, and coincidentally at that point in time he just recently visited Singapore as well. And like all the cool pictures that he took of Singapore were like places that I didn't even know existed. Like I mean, I've been living here all my life, right? And like all these places I didn't know existed. So I took it upon myself. I went to like Google Maps. I tried to search for all these places, and then I started to discover more about like other Instagrammers in Singapore, followed them as well. And yeah, it was just my friends and we went out, and I was just shooting on an iPhone 6 back then. And I found like a random digital camera lying around that my family uses. So I was like, okay, this could work. So and then I went on shooting and just exploring more, and eventually I invested in my first DSLR, and that was the Canon 70D. So yeah, man, had lots of fun. So pretty much how I started out.
That is really nice. That is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's that slow transition, and having that inspiration for that beginning inspiration to really drive you. I mean, so those people that you mentioned before, the Japanese Asian photographers,
right.
Were they your first inspirations?
No, not exactly. I would say like my inspirations, they're always like changing. It will never be like the same guy for like forever. I mean, like I will have new inspirations. So these three guys that I've been talking about, like my recent inspirations. But back then when I was starting out, I didn't have any specific people that I followed that inspired me. It was like whatever's nice, I'll just like try and learn a bit from here and there. Like I try not to narrow myself down to just like, oh okay, this guy shoots landscape, I'm gonna try to get like this specific tone. It was more like, okay, yeah, these few guys have really nice photos, and try to learn something from them and try to do something the same as them, but not exactly. I try to like build on these kinds of like angles and looks, and eventually I come up with I come up with something that I can call my own. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important. I think it's an art that's missed by a lot of people these days, especially because I think you get a lot of people who start out in photography and go and emulate another person's style, but directly copy it. And I think almost, I don't want to go into this topic too much, but I think I think when you have a lot of like, when people are able to buy presets, I don't think it's really the person who's selling it, like it's their fault because people are lazy. I think people are able to buy these presets. They buy the presets, and then they just like completely say to themselves, okay, I'm done now, and I'm now a professional photographer, and they claim it as their own. I think finding that own path for yourself and developing, and not being comfortable and trying something you're not comfortable is really important, especially when you're starting. When you're starting out.
The funny thing about presets is that I feel that a lot of people actually think like these presets, when they buy them, that's like their end point. But to me, I feel that these presets should be the beginning actually. Like you would just like put these, for example, like a preset on your photo, and then you start building on it. Not like, okay, this preset works and then that's the end of it. So like for me, when I was starting out, I use presets as well. But the thing is, I don't ever just leave them on. I try to like build on them. Then eventually it starts to become really different and not like the same preset that I used in the beginning. And then I save them as my own. So it's more like, I get inspiration, but I built on these inspirations to create something that I can call my own. So yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, what I've noticed as well is that you get a lot of photographers these days that especially I don't know if you've noticed it as well, but there's a lot of the same tones these days, if you know what I mean.
Right.
A lot of really similar colors and styles, but I think it should be something that's your own, something that you make your own and stuff like that. Have you always edited with Lightroom or?
No, actually in the beginning, so I started shooting on iPhone 6, right? So it was, I edited all my stuff on Visco. So I think like anyone starting out would be using Visco as well. So because it's so readily available, it's free, right? So just throw on like a preset and then just move like the highlights here and there. But eventually I realized like there was this quality that I wasn't achieving that I see a lot on Instagram. So I went on to do some research here and there, and I realized like a lot of people actually edit on their computers and they use like Adobe Lightroom, right? So I got it myself, and yeah, ever since then that's what I've been editing on, like Lightroom, even up to now.
Lightroom is an incredible tool, definitely. Being able to open up all those doors for you. And in terms of the flexibility, I think it's less of a workhorse compared to Photoshop, and it's hard to find a balance between what is edited and what is too edited and almost what is too clean. You know, I mean, what do you try and aim for with your photos? Are you trying to almost?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so when I edit a photo, a lot of people, they tend to use like the same preset and they tend to like achieve the same look. And if they don't get it, then they would say like, okay, this photo isn't gonna work out, and then they look for something else. But for me, it's more like every photo, I believe that every photo is unique, and I can definitely make something out of a photo. So for me, I would go through, like, my work process is that I will go through like my presets, and if none of them actually work or look like a desired look that I'm aiming for, I'll just start from fresh, and then I'll just like edit. So it's never like I wouldn't have an end goal in my mind, but sort of like a direction that I want to hit to, and then from there I would be like, oh, okay, this looks nice, and then I would say that, okay, yeah, this definitely something that I can post on Instagram.
Okay, cool. So you see the journey throughout, and then you sort of try and reach. Okay, that's quite nice then. It's definitely important to have a development stage like that. Especially to see your own errors and be able to improve. So there is one important question I like to ask whenever I invite people on. Do you think you'd still shoot without Instagram? Do you think you'd still shoot without seeing, the post that you saw and that inspiration?
Wow. Okay. I would say that if Instagram were to suddenly like disappear or crash, I would definitely still continue shooting. But if it didn't exist in the beginning, I would think that I would definitely catch on with photography, like, but I wouldn't like take it as seriously as I am now, because I would imagine like the influences that I get would be different, right? Maybe like more posters and stuff like that. So I would be like, okay, I could do this, but never without Instagram, because I feel that the drive I get is when people actually tell me that they like my photos, they start liking it, and then I get like all these people from overseas even getting on board like on my account and following me. So it's like a real motivation for me to just head out there every weekend and just like start taking photos. So I think like if Instagram didn't exist at all, it would be a really, really different story. And I'll probably have to find something else to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think I really, really like your honesty, because a lot of people, I think a lot of people aren't honest enough, because when I ask a lot of people, just generally in person, they usually tell me, no, I'd still shoot, but it's always that, I think when you mention that, like, sure, engagement is important, but the people you meet, the journeys that you had, the adventures that you had, exactly, it all comes in one bundle through connectivity. And I think a lot of people don't take advantage of the communications that we have these days, especially.
That's very true.
And what do you think in terms of your idea of the current state of photography is? Like, what's your opinion on the current, what's going on now in the photography world?
Wow, this is a big one.
I mean, just
Okay,
in terms of how it's moving, how it's going, you know.
Okay, I have to explain myself. So at the beginning, photography wasn't like a serious thing for me. It was more like just going out and shoot. So I never actually paid attention to like, oh, okay, this is going on. This is like how it should be moving. But even up to now, I think that it's nice to know what's going on in the world. But I feel that just having fun is what is important. But if you were to ask me right now, I think that just by like just on Instagram, I see a lot of people trying new stuff, things like that. Like Insta meets, a lot of community stuff, and I think that the way that everybody's moving towards is more of like everybody's trying to achieve like this certain look, and I guess it's great, but it's great, but it's sort of like limiting your own creativity. Like nobody's really trying something new.
It gets a bit annoying.
Yeah. But I feel that to be fair, there's only so much you can really do about achieving like a certain tone. So I think that if we really want to improve ourselves or make like the community better, just like try something new, try something different, and not be afraid really. So yeah.
Okay, quote there. Ryanmamba, don't be afraid, try something new. okay, I like it. Yeah, it's really important to try something new, because so many people just live in their comfort zones and they wonder why 10 years from now why they don't ever get anywhere. It's
yes, that is very true.
But yeah, it's a huge point though to be able to add something new, because that's how you inspire other people. I mean, if you look at the inspirations that a lot of people have nowadays in terms of photography, they're always from people who've created new things. But it's crazy, because I think creativity and originality is something that is missing the most in Instagram. Hugely, because people don't want to take that risk, which is why you get like 1,000 shots of people with like smoke bombs or like with because it's
quite
almost
true.
It's quite interesting the evolution and everything like that. So I mean, what would you say your future photography goals are as a whole?
Okay, so right now, my plan after I complete like national service, I actually intend to study like media. So it's something close to photography, but not exactly. I don't intend to just make a living out of just shooting photos, but more about being creative and maybe start taking videos in the future, because I feel that video is just like another avenue that a lot of people would be interested in. I mean, like there's a lot of money in video, I would say more than photography actually. So I try not to limit myself so much, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's important just to have fun. So I don't know, maybe like doing graphic design, stuff like that, just to expand my creativity. And I never know, maybe like all these other forms of media could influence my photography, and I can make something new out of it.
100%.
So, yeah,
make sure that you're diversified and being able to bring something to the table, because I think these days it's not good enough to be a good photographer, and it's not good enough to try your best, because I think you can try your best, but if you don't think smartly and you don't work smartly, then you're never going to get that work. You're never going to be able to shoot people, because I think marketing as a whole through photography work is something that's underestimated quite a lot, being able to market yourself and use all of those tools that are out there, because a lot of people, photographers especially, aren't taught that.
That's quite true.
I mean, it's one of the most powerful forms of mediums that are out there. So I also want to ask you, if you now had a new photographer come up to you, he's the photographer is by the way, have I asked you how old you are?
Oh no, so this year I'm actually 23.
23,
so,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, 23.
Cool, that's awesome. Okay, so you have a new photographer, he's, let's say, like 16 years old, and he comes in, he's got like the 5D Mark 5 or something.
Wow,
And,
okay.
and he says, Ryan, I don't know what to do. I need like one piece of advice to become a better photographer. What would you say? Or any piece of advice to become a better photographer. What would you say? It's your responsibility now.
Okay.
This whole kid's future is like pending on you. So
this is a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, if I think like the way I look at this is, if I had like one piece of advice to tell myself when I was actually just starting out, it would be to not get too caught up about like, you know, achieving like a certain look, because I feel that a lot of people are starting to give up, or they feel like very disappointed with themselves because they're not getting like this specific look. I think like it's important to get inspiration from other photographers, but it's also important not to copy them. So you could be like shooting from the same angles, you know, using the same edits, but at the end of the day, are you really truly is this like, can you tell yourself that this is your work, or are you just trying to copy someone else? So like I would tell the kid to just keep trying. Don't get so caught up about like trying to achieve, you know, a certain look or certain edit. Just be you, you know. So yeah, and like the most important thing I feel is to always have fun. So yeah, that's what I would tell the kid.
100%. Okay. some words of inspiration there. Awesome. So that was all of the questions for today. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. It's been good having you on. If you want to catch him, he's on the second issue. Instagram, Ryanmamba. Got some really good tones, good perspective in there. yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, you can, if you guys are interested to, you know, just ask me questions like how I edit my stuff, don't hesitate, just drop me a DM. I go through all my DMs, so don't worry. If it's a legit question, I'll definitely get back to you.
Cool.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, thanks again for coming on, and thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you guys next time on the Precinct project. Have a good night.